This is Student Peer Teach Problem 3. Taking a look here, we have a quadrilateral GHIJ with points G at 0, 7, H at 6, 3, I at 4, -3, and J's at -2, 1. First thing we're going to do is we're going to label our diagram. So G is at 0, 7. H is at 6, 3. I is at 4, -3. And J is at -2, 1. Our goal is to somehow figure out how we can get angle HGJ. So angle HGJ, we want it to be congruent to JIH. Somehow we want to get these angles congruent. That's the question. How are we going to get the angles congruent? Well, there's a real simple process here. If I can make triangles congruent, I can make parts congruent. Keep that in mind. If I can make whole triangles congruent, I can make parts congruent. So it says right here, we're going to use a combination of midpoint, slope, and or distance to show that the triangles are congruent. Remember, there's 4 ways to do this. You can do side, 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 angle, side, angle, side, angle, or angle, angle, side. In all honesty, you can go all 4 ways, but you need to have couple things in mind. In order to show we only have sides and angles here on a coordinate plane. In order to show sides are congruent, all you need is to show lengths congruent using the distance equation. That's simple enough. So to show sides congruent, all you need to do is use the distance equation to show lengths. In order to show angles congruent, you cannot show that directly. There's no midpoint, slope, or distance that can directly show the measures of angles. But if you show lines are parallel, then you can show congruent angles such as alternate inferior, corresponding. The most common would be alternate interior or corresponding angles. So we first have to show lines are parallel. Now you ask yourself, how do you show parallel lines? You use slope. So keep these 2 connections in mind. I'd like you to write this down. If you're going to show slopes are equal, you have to deal with it. If you want to show angles are equal, you first have to show slope, and then do this showing lines parallel angles. So I'm going to use a combination just so you can see how both works. Again, you could actually use any 4 attacks here. I'm going to use the ones that use both angles and sides so you can see how they both work here. So I am going to show here, or if I can show that these blue are equal, I'm going to use a distance equation. And then, not only am I going to show the blues are equal in length, I'm also going to show that they are parallel. And if they're parallel, then I can get armpits of the Z going on. But I first have to show parallel. Armpits of the Z would give me angles 1 and 2 as congruent. That would give me a pair of angles. So distance would give me a pair of sides. Then I can find a pair of angles. And now I have one freebie side here The freebie side is right down the middle here. It's reflexive, so I don't even need to use a distance equation. So I'm going to shoot for side angle side. Let me show you how this works. First, we're going to find our first side using the distance equation. So we're doing side first. We're going to show a pair of sides equal. So there is, I'm going to write I'm going to find sides equal in distance. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to find the distance of GH. Make a template. And I'm going to find the side GH, and I'm also going to find the side JI, the distance. A little bit more space here. Okay, let's do GH first. GH, I'm going to go 0 minus 6 and 7 minus 3. 0 minus 6 is negative 6 squared, that's 36, plus 7 minus 3, that is 4 squared, that's 16. So my distance here is going to be the square root of 52. Now let's do JI. We're going to go negative 2 minus 4. And we're going to do 1 minus negative 3. That's negative 6 squared, so that's 36. That's going to be 4 squared, that's 16. And again, I show my distance. That's going to be 50, square root of 52. So behold, I just got my first pair of sides. Now I need to show that those same two sides are parallel. So now I'm going to do the slope of GH. And I'm going to find the slope of JI. For GH, again, I'm going to do y minus y, so that's going to be 7 minus 3. Seven minus 3 over 0 minus 6. And that is going to be 4 over negative 6. So that's going to be negative 2/3. And then we do JI, which is going to be 1 minus negative 3, negative 2 minus 4. This ends up being 4 over negative 6, which is negative 2/3. Behold, if I have equal slopes, I know those lines are parallel. If they're parallel, I know my angles are equal. So let's do our summary now. This is what the math tells me. Again, I'm trying to show the triangles are equal, and if the triangles are equal, the parts are equal. So I know, first off, I know that you have G is at 0, 7, H is at 6, 3, I is at 4, negative 3, and J is at negative 2, 1. Now, because of that, I found the distance, GH, is equal to root 52, and the distance JI is equal to root 52, so they are congruent. That gets you my first pair of sides. Then I find the slope. The slope of GH equals negative 2 over 3, and JI equals negative 2 over 3. So they're parallel. If I have parallel lines, then measure angle 1 equals measure angle 2, because they are armpits of the Z. That gets me a pair of angles. Finally, I know that H is equal to H because of reflexive. So the triangles are equal. If the triangles are congruent, the parts aren't congruent. So angle HGJ must therefore be congruent to angle JIH.